Hey everyone, Dan here. We're in the trading afternoon on Tuesday, July 20th. We're going to take a quick look at Nvidia. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. And also keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, ideas, opinions. These are not trading or investing advice in any way. Please do your own due diligence and make your own decisions based on your own situation and opinions. All right, so Nvidia pulling back a little bit today, down a little over 1%. And the volume is sort of like just kind of keeping pace with the average 3 months. So nothing kind of incredible there volume wise, nothing sort of standing out like huge buy volume or huge sell volume coming in. So that could be a good sign as we're sort of seeing if there could be a dip that could be evolving here that could then sort of push us higher in the days ahead. This is basically my hope that there's opportunity for a dip buy as opposed to feeling like you're chasing it, into the stratosphere, which is always, it can feel like a dangerous situation. But you see the volume here had picked up quite a bit in different periods recently, and certainly back here as well. And, like I said, today it's cooling off a little bit, sort of reverting to the mean a little bit. And that said, it being a red day on lower volume could be a good sign that there's more buy volume ahead. That's even on a red day, there's not a bunch of push for the selling pressure to win out. I wanted to take a look at some levels that might be useful to us. I wanted to see the extension after this pullback here and see where we landed on that. So we blew over the 161 here, and so it was not able to hold support over the 161. So pulled back after that, and I wanted to see if there were any interesting retracement levels that could sort of lead us to, lookout areas for retracements. Now, if I want to get tight in here on this one and then pull us up to 208.75. We'll have a look and see what these levels look like. And so right now we are pulling back into the 382 level, and that's where we saw it kind of catch some support and start to bounce a little bit. Now, from a supply and demand perspective, I would say there is a little bit of a zone here, that does make sense. You see this previous support and resistance that was established here, and then lining up really well with that from yesterday's candle, and even the day before as it was coming down, it sort of caught itself there. So we could be seeing a jump off of this 382. That would certainly make a ton of sense. If we do get that, I think it would behoove us while we're here to sort of look and see what that could evolve into. So if we take similarly the extension, let's see how impossible this becomes to look at. And if it does, then I will just get rid of one of these, 2875, and then down here to this puppy. All right, so this would put us up quite a bit. I don't even know if I can get ourselves zoomed out enough to sort of see, but this would put price targets well above where we've seen them previously. Looks like the 618 would put us about 225. Let me see if we pop us out here. Okay, now we're getting a little bit closer to something that we can look at. What if we just go to the 5-year chart and see if that gets us? Okay, well, I can't get out any further than that unless I keep doing this perpetually, and even then I don't know that we'll get there. But extending us up into the 225 area, if we are able to bounce and make a run, then certainly we would be able to see what the additional levels that are coming into play there are. But the first question in my mind is going to be, can this bounce sustain itself? It is doing a nice job testing that 382 again today, and even though it is a red day, sort of showing that it's has the buying pressure there certainly seems to be a lot of buying pressure there, as we saw here. And basically what I'm looking at here is we had this nice run up, and then it sort of started to stall, right, for about 4 or 5 trading days, and then a bunch of buy volume came in. It came back and tried to test it, which actually is what I like to see, because that just reconfirms the strength of that zone, that the buying pressure is there at that price point. And that's when we saw it rocket up quite significantly. Now, being that it's pulling back into that zone again, this does look like potentially a really good bounce area that, it would make sense from the perspective of, this previous supply and demand zone. So I would keep a strong eye on that. Now, on the indicator side of things, there's a few things to look at too. Obviously, we're picking up bearish momentum still. This is on the daily, so just keep that in mind. The real estate is still increasing between the MACD and the signal line as it comes down toward the baseline here. It had stretched up as high as 11 plus on the MACD line, and now we're all the way down to just above 3 at the moment. So definitely some more room to fall, but we could get a nice bounce at or around the baseline, which probably wouldn't really stretch it too much toward that 38.2 retracement zone, that $180.39 price area, before it would potentially bounce. But I'd be looking for it to kind of settle into the baseline there and see what it's doing. Is it going to consolidate along this area? Is it going to bounce and then come up even higher? And then we could see what those mystical extension areas were, since I couldn't get the zoom out to help us. But on the RSI, here's another thing to look for. As it's come down to the midline right now, this will be the big question for me at the moment, as it pertains to the RSI. Do we see something like this, where it came from overboughts, came down, and it tried to hold the midline, right? It tried to bounce right there, but it couldn't. So then it fell down and it came nearly into oversold territory. Then it came up to the midline, it was able to establish over it, and it made its run into overboughts. Now, coming down here, nearly oversold before it ran up to overbought again, and having held overbought for such a long time, what I'd want to see is for it to hold the midline right now. And I think if it can hold the midline, it has a really good chance to make just another run straight back up to overbought territory. We do see that quite often with stocks. The question is the buying pressure still there, being that it has, it's now so extended to the upside? Certainly could happen, but I would sort of just be cautious that it really has the momentum still there behind it. Now, on the MA side of things, we do see the 50, which is this yellow MA, coming in to potentially provide additional support. We do see it had flipped from resistance to support here, and that helped give it the lift over the 20, and then we saw this big run up here. So that could be something that we see play out again. And we saw several areas where it came in and sort of provided support. We see it back here as well, as everything was kind of consolidating and all the MAs were bunching up. Now, that said, the 200 continues to rush in as well, and so could we see a further dip down to test the 200, which would probably put it somewhere around the 618 retracement level by the time these two got to meet each other. So putting it around 162, maybe mid 160s, to see if it can catch support from the 200 at that level. But I'm going to be keeping an eye on those indicators, keeping an eye on these levels. Definitely this purple zone is the most interesting one to me at the moment. And then the other most interesting thing to me is, what the MACD is going to do here as it comes down toward the baseline. Can it start to reduce the spread between itself and the signal line, and therefore potentially be moving toward a bullish crossover and giving itself another push to the upside? Otherwise, yeah, I could see a dip down back into the 160s here, testing this 618 level as the 200 comes in. And that is another really good supply and demand zone, as you see here, with all this previous price activity. It stretches it down a bit into the 150s, like into the mid 150s, but I'm just reading the chart. So it will do what it will do, and we will find out soon enough. All right, well, good luck if you are in Nvidia. I wish you the best. I hope your trading week is off to a good start, and I will see you in the next video.